Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a video on basically how to enjoy being alone and the fact that you can be alone in a group of people, a sea of people, but you can feel very unalone when you're on your own, which is the case for me. I definitely remember times in school where I was forced to be with a load of people and I felt so alone. I guess that comes from the idea of wanting to be alone and no one else I perceived wanted to be alone at that moment. But I really noticed that I was not alone at all throughout a long period of time. Let's not make this a sad video, it's supposed to be helpful. So yeah, let's get into it. They say, it's a quote, "It's better to be alone than in bad company." Not say everyone at my school is bad, so right. So here are a few tips how a depressing vibe I've just created. You can romanticize your life, and this might sound counterproductive, and I've warned against the sense of romanticizing in order to avoid your problems, but it can be fun in order to, on a level sense, romanticize to figure out what your actual inner inhibitions are, what your inner goals are, and try and make them a reality and so take yourself out on a day date, go shopping, go on a spa day, have a bath, go to a cafe, go to a beach, have a takeaway, watch films on your own. Like, I honestly have been in a relationship for a long time and you don't really get the sense of watching a film on your own, and I did not have that until literally last year that I really realised that, because I do think, as a little disclaimer to everyone, you do, as I said, a lot of the time, unless you are left on your own or you have a certain situation. I never was on my own in like school years, so I never really left me to be comfortable, and I was very uncomfortable being around myself until literally like last year, and lockdown like forced that into me and slightly before that, to be fair. But it's so lovely now, I wouldn't change it. You can reflect on your progress in life, learn from past life experiences, be on the uncomfortable, learn to be sort of have a good mindset, whatever that means to you. You can be introverted. I feel like society and the way we're conditioned when we're younger, it does allow for this extroverted culture, and I do think society in general does lean towards, and I see what people mean now by how society can lean towards extroversion, which I don't think is necessarily the case. It just is a reaction of the extroverts overpowering introverts at times because they are more experienced in power sometimes. I don't think that's always the case because I'm a bit of an introvert, but I'm also very like powerful with my boundaries, so it's not always the case, not at all. And I do think introverts are quite good with boundaries a lot of the time, but yeah, I do think that, yeah, having this too shall pass moment, saying like if you do get like bored or whatever, you can like go for a walk, make some sort of routine, whatever that means for you, because often, especially when you're growing up, like, you tend to like fit your routine around other people, which is fine, but at the same time, like, as you get older, like, it's just like that liberation and independence that comes from like learning what you want to do. And literally I've literally had this recent, like, since being an adult, like, you do have so much liberation, like being in your own like space and like just making every decision for yourself just because you want to do it. Like, don't get me wrong, like, there has been like jobs which obviously when you're in a job, like, you do have a level of like, but you still are self-directed at the end of the day. So like, as an adult, you have that freedom, and if anyone's trying to take that freedom away from you, they're being controlling and they shouldn't be in your life. Just saying. Once you hit like whatever age you feel comfortable, I mean, you should never be controlled, but like, especially as an adult, like, don't let controlling people into your life if they try and inhibit you from living your best life and making your own decisions and making you feel guilty for that. That's really not healthy. So allowing boundaries with other people. I think when you're on your own, you feel comfortable to like stew in whatever position you're comfortable in. You might shift energetically or mentally towards a place that you feel more comfortable in. So if you've presented as a bit of an extrovert, or you became a bit of an extrovert and you want to shift that back to be a more introverted person, that can happen, and it can help allow boundaries to happen, which also is good for when you do integrate back into like meeting different people and stuff. I'm not saying integrate back, you may never have integrated out of doing that, but obviously you're inevitably going to meet people, which brings me on to my next one of, actually no, okay, I'll just say inevitably you're going to meet people eventually, and you're not always like to appreciate this time of you are in your younger years, this is the best time of your life. Like, not to say like when you have your children it's not a good time, but there will come a time where you don't have all the time to yourself and you can't like make all those decisions yourself, and it's just a nice little thing to be grateful for. So basically, yeah, you can sleep in, you can do things the way you want to do it. You can go on workouts, you can clean, and I do think it's as well, it's like they always say like cycles come back around. Like if you haven't done something the first time round, you get a second chance the next time it comes around. So if you do feel like you gave a lot of your life to school, when it comes around next time, that is your time of notice in your 20s to travel the world, to see different places, to not be in a four-walled classroom for your whole life. You know, if last time you were in a job that you weren't too keen on, or studying something that you're a bit bored about, you know, spend that time to do what you want to do this time, and don't like forgive and honor the past self, but like always know that there's a way to like, you know, upgrade next time. So you can also, to avoid loneliness, you can also like phone people up, as to not like having people you can call is always going to be nice if you literally like do have like that. If you're not around people all the time, like I've obviously lost my phone at this point, which is actually, I've got to say, one of the most relaxing things I've actually gone through in a long time. My brain is not buzzing and rattling like it usually does, which sounds really scary and bad, but like usually I've just noticed I'm just so much more calm. Like I always am just on my phone, like doing something, and I am getting another phone, don't get me wrong, but it has occurred to me to get like a little Nokia and not bother with a big smartphone, because it's just a lot of stress, which we're not evolved for necessarily. And not all of us choose that life, so there we go. Life is a choice, things in life are a choice. So I think that's where we've got to go. Like people are a lot of the time say, like we have evolved from caveman times, but in my experience in the Bible and stuff like that, people are like similar, like a certain type of person a lot of the time. Like, oh, that sounds so stereotypical, but what I mean is, we haven't evolved much from 100 years ago where there was people like spinsters and stuff. Maybe I'm a modern day spinster, you never know. No, I'm not. I feel like I'm a bit of an adventurer, but there we go, a bit of both. So I feel like leaning into that just because for some reason, because like society isn't, you know, validating that for me at this very moment in whatever way that would even happen, I need to be validating myself to do these things. So no, identify goals. Going off social media might be good. Like I said, with my phone that helped. So it can help like for interaction sometimes, but I have noticed that, and this I watched a video that said this, you can, as one thing that on your phone used to be for me was to distract from anxiety I had in sixth form. I had mental health problems and I was on medications and stuff, and I was highly anxious in the common room or whatever. So going on my phone would be a nice distraction, a nice way to allow my introversion and not seem rude. But you can allow that to become very, it can be like too much. Sorry, it can go the other way, where you're getting like really attached to it, and it can just give you either FOMO or like you can feel like jealous or lonely or whatever when you look at other people. And I'm not really sure how the psychology of all that works, but I know for a fact like we wouldn't go on it so much if it wasn't on some level detrimenting our mental health to make us want to go back and giving us like an addictive quality. So I just would say, I know that sounds a bit conspiracy theorist, but it is true at the end of the day. Right, so moving on, get a pet or a plant. I do have pets, so there we are. It does help, so you don't just start talking to yourself. I do think that has helped massively, to be honest, because you don't have to like fill that space with like someone that doesn't deserve that spot. At the end of the day, I feel like you should reserve your spaces in your life for people that actually deserve it. Sometimes I'm noticing that as you get older, some people won't deserve it, and that is the honest truth. Like some people do not qualify for that. At the end of the day, I don't know if this is the best way to do it, because I'm not. This would probably demotivate me to even say this, because I would just lose interest in the whole statement. But at the end of the day, you could in theory see your life as a job interview, and if those people don't meet that criteria to be there, kick them out. Harsh but true. I like to see my life as more of a party. If you don't want to invite that person, you don't have to. Harsh but true. Or just live chilled and just say, nice to meet you, goodbye and you can part ways, and that's probably the most peaceful, nicer, probably the most relatable way I would want to say it. It was a bit harsh about the job interview thing, but anyway. Bye.